Hi everyone, this is a short video recapping speech marks and how they are used in sentences. This lesson you will need a pencil, a piece of paper, and of course your brains. The first thing we're going to think about is what are speech marks used for. Now you might have seen them in your books that you're reading at home or books that we've read in school, but what are they used for? I'll give you a little few seconds to think about before we go through the answer. Speech marks are used to define what is being said by a specific character. So they outline when you should change your tone when you're reading so that you can read in that character's voice, or change your narrator voice slightly so you can tell that a different character is speaking. Here is an example of some speech in a sentence. Can we have pizza for tea tonight? Asked Noah. And notice when I read that, the bit inside the speech marks, I give a different inflection, a different tone, a different voice. Can we have pizza for tea tonight? Asked Noah. And you have a little read now and see if you can change your tone when you read the bit inside the speech marks. Just like when we write sentences, there are rules for speech marks. So the first rule of speech marks is that the speech marks only go around what is being said. So in the sentence and the example that we just looked at before, can we have pizza for tea tonight? Asked Noah. The speech marks, which I've put in red there, only go around the bit that Noah actually says or asks. And it doesn't go around what we call the reporting clause at the end. The next rule we're going to look at is that all speech starts with a capital letter. So when we can see this one, can we have pizza for tea tonight? Asked Noah. We can see that the can starts with a capital C. The next rule we're going to look at is that punctuation comes inside of the speech marks. Can we have pizza for tea tonight? Question mark. Asked Noah. So we've had to put a question mark in there because Noah is asking a question. Some of the punctuation you might put inside is a comma, an exclamation mark, and sometimes a full stop, but we have to change the reporting clause for that because in this sentence it wouldn't be the end of the sentence. Finally, if we're just writing one sentence of speech, the last rule we've got to remember is that the reporting clause does not need a capital letter unless it's a proper noun, and we're going to look at an example of that next. So the reporting clause starts with asked Noah, and the first letter A is not capitalized because it is not a proper noun and we don't need it after the speech marks. Here's another example of some speech. Watch out! Toby bellowed at the top of his voice. Can you have a little go at reading that? You can notice now that we've still got all the different parts in there. We've got speech marks around what he said, a capital letter at the start, an exclamation mark inside of the speech marks, and in this sentence we would capitalise the next letter after the speech because Toby is a proper noun because it's a name of a person. Here's another example of speech in a sentence. Please mum, can I do the washing up today? Pleaded Harley. If you can notice in this sentence we've got a different reporting clause. This one says pleaded, and we've got all the other rules there as well. So we've got speech marks around what's being said, a capital letter at the beginning, punctuation inside of the speech marks, and this time it's a question mark because in this case Harley is asking a question, and our reporting clause, which starts with the word pleaded, doesn't need a capital letter because it is not a proper noun. This is the part where you're going to need your pencil and a bit of paper. I'm going to ask you to add the speech marks into this sentence. The sentence says, do you want to go on athletics? Esther asked her little brother. I'll read it one more time, then you can think about where the speech marks need to go. Do you want to go on athletics? Esther asked her little brother. Pause the video now and see if you can put the speech marks in the right place. Check if you are right. So this is where your speech marks should have come. They should have gone around the green text there. Do you want to go on athletics? Esther asked her little brother. So the bit that Esther had said there was, do you want to go on athletics? So that will be the bit that needs the speech marks around it. Just like the previous example, I'd like you to again put the speech marks into this sentence. What type of dog is that? Asked Jude. I'll read it one more time. What type of dog is that? Asked Jude. So pause the video now and see if you can put the speech marks in the correct place. Remember, speech marks go around what has been said. So in that example, what type of dog is that? Is the bit that has been said, so that bit would go in speech marks. Well done if you got that one right. We're going to take it a little bit further now because you can also swap around the reporting clause. Now the reporting clause tells you how and who said that bit of speech. So we could read this bit. It says Madeline whispered. This clause tells me that Madeline has said it and that the way she said it was a whisper. And you can start your sentence with it rather than just have it at the end. Madeline whispered, "Shh, you'll wake them all up." Rather than, "Shh, you'll wake them all up," Madeline whispered. So you can put the reporting clause at the beginning. If you do that though, you'll notice there in green, I've put a comma. And that's because we have to tell the reader to take a slight pause before they change their tone and go into the speech. Let me practice that one more time so you can hear the pause. Madeline whispered, "Shh, you'll wake them all up." Just like the examples before, I'd like you to try and put the speech marks in this sentence. Now I'm going to read it out for you. Nancy suggested, "I think we should do dance instead of football." Nancy suggested, "I think we should do dance instead of football." Have a think, where would the speech marks go? Pause the video now and have a little go for yourselves. As you can see, the part that should be inside of the speech marks is, "I think we should do dance instead of football." Now this is because this is what Nancy has suggested, what she has said. You might also notice that this part of the speech ends in a full stop, and that's because it's the end of the sentence. Because we've started with our reporting clause, at the full stop at the end of the speech, we finish what we have to say, so we can put a full stop there. If we wrote it the other way around, we would need to put a comma there so we can write Nancy suggested after it all in one sentence. But in this case, it's fine with a full stop. Your final task today is to write me 5 sentences of speech, remembering all the rules. Now, if you've forgotten any of the rules, the beauty of this is you can just rewind it and have a little glance and remind yourself of the rules. But the rules are, speech marks go around what is being said. You must start your speech marks with a capital letter. There must be some punctuation inside of the speech marks, and the first letter after the speech marks doesn't need a capital letter if it's part of the reporting clause. If you want to try and challenge yourselves and put the reporting clause at the beginning, don't forget that comma before you start your speech. I thought it would be nice, since it's the Queen's birthday, for a little inspiration. What might the Queen say to people at her birthday party? If you don't want to write about that, feel free to explore your imagination and write 5 sentences of speech on anything you choose. I hope this has been really helpful, and I can't wait to see your responses on Class Dojo. See you soon, guys. Bye.